All right, in the previous exercise, I introduced you to the fixed positioning property value, which is fantastic. We're getting this fixed or locked object on our screen. Any ideas where you might make use of this? How about a header running right across the top of your screen? Or maybe a footer running across the bottom of your screen, something like that. Well, how would we pull something like that off? Well, what I could do is I could flip back over to the code, and rather than positioning my object from the top and the left, maybe I want to position this guy over on the right-hand side, something like this. Don't forget, we have 4 properties that we can use, top, bottom, left, and right. And we can make use of those 4 properties to go and position our objects. In this case, a fixed positioned element, a green div. You see this all the time. Contact support, chat now, that kind of thing. And it's always sitting in the top right corner, something like that, right? Or again, what about something like a footer? Well, maybe in that case, I could flip back over to my code and I could say, all right, I'm going to position this based off of the bottom. So the bottom edge of the browser window, I'm going to say 0 pixels. And maybe I'll change this back over to left and I'll set that to 0 pixels as well. Save this guy up and refresh the browser. And now if I scroll all the way down, oh, he's completely gone. Isn't that interesting? Oh, it would help if I put an actual 0 in. There. So there's my object now sitting there fixed down at the bottom of the browser window. Fantastic. Make sure you type in a 0, not the letter O. And then maybe I could do something like, well, maybe for the width, I could change this to maybe something a little bit more reasonable, like maybe 960. And the height of my footer is maybe only going to be 50 pixels, right? Save this up and refresh. There we go. Maybe we have something like that. And he's always going to be visible on our screen. Pretty darn cool. This is why the fixed position is one of my favorites anyway, because you can do some pretty funky, cool stuff here. Now, I've shown you lots and lots of cool techniques for using your positioning property, lots of different effects and things like that. But at the same time, I've also tried to keep it fairly simple, not dumping too much on you, trying to be conscious of that, by simply using 4 colored boxes, 4 divs. Now, of course, in the real world, these guys would be probably loaded in with all kinds of different content, maybe a border, of course, most likely padding and margin and perhaps background graphics and all the rest of it. But again, I'm just trying to get you warmed up to this idea of positioning. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation on working with the positioning property in CSS.